episode of Bulletin Sports Talk. I'm your host, Brian Rathbone, and on today's show, we have Alex Grignon, now former Summit soccer player who is off to Western Oregon to play soccer next fall for the Wolfpack. But before we get to Alex, I have a question. Is it recency bias to think that this past year's Summit soccer team is the best soccer team that the state has seen in its history? For my money, it's not. Summit won 17 games out of their 18. They had one tie against South Salem, but they aren't the first team to go undefeated and win a state title. Lake Ridge did that in 2016. They aren't even the first team to win their state championship game by 6 goals. Jesuit did that twice back in the mid 80s. But what I'm reminded of when I think of the Summit team and how good they were and how dominant is after they won the title, Ron Kidder, former coach for Summit, who coached them to a title in 2013 and then back-to-back state title appearances in 2018 and 2019. He was just telling me, like, man, those teams, we had to scrape and claw and win in PKs, win in overtime just to get to state championship games and to advance throughout the playoffs. This past team, the team that won the title in 2021, didn't have to. They dominated. Over the 5 postseason games, they outscored their opponents 21-0. And of course, winning 6-0 in the state title game. Now, I try not to compare eras because it's a near impossible task. You can't just take one team, put them in a time machine, and bring them back to face off, even though it would be pretty cool to have an all-time state tournament bracket. Maybe the scientists can get up on that for this very important reason. But I have a hard time seeing a recent team that can stack up to this 2021 team. And they've set the bar really high for teams, in the near future. So for right now, for my money, this 2021 Summit soccer team, the best the state has seen and the best they might see for a while. And now let's talk to Alex. Joining me now is Alex Grignon, Summit Soccer, quite the goal scorer. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm great, Brian. How are you?
Good to see you again, man. It's been a while since you guys went on that really just kind of like historic run through the playoffs that ended in a state title. I started this podcast with talking about dominance as a team and kind of what you guys went through. I believe that this last year's Summit team was probably the best team that Oregon's seen.
Yeah.
I take it you feel similarly?
Yeah, I kind of have to. I completely agree. I think we are the greatest team that has ever played in an Oregon high school soccer environment. I really do. Mm-hmm. Just looking at stats and the games we played and the margins of victories and the players we had, I don't think any team really, honestly, not in like a cocky way, but I don't think any team could beat us ever. But, but I really do think we were the greatest and will be the greatest for a while.
Yeah, you guys kind of started this off, with a really just kind of marquee win against Jesuit, score 4 goals on them, and then you guys just like don't stop kind of the whole year. And
yeah,
you guys almost scored 100 goals on the year. You only had 2 games where you scored two goals, but never anything lower than that. Yeah. Obviously 6-0 in the state title game. How are you guys able to do that offensively?
Funny, we went into that Jesuit game a little nervous. I think there's a lot of nerves, not knowing how the team would gel. And I mean, it was our first game together for a lot of these kids, a lot of new kids on varsity and a new coach. And there was a lot of factors that were going into this game kind of unknowingly. And coming out, scoring 3 goals in the first half. And I think the confidence just shot up from there. And I thought we were unbeatable. We thought Jesuit came in the number 1 ranked team in the state. We wanted to come and knock them off. We did. And then from there, we were just like, there's nobody that's going to beat us. And we had that mentality. And I think that really helped us. And for me, playing with my best friends, I think my best friends of all time, kids that I've grown up with playing with since I was 8 or 9. And me, Paul, Nani in the front 3 that just gelled together so well. That was pretty much undefendable. So it came really easily for us. And the team chemistry was super high. So it was super, super easy for us to just flow easily offensively, score a lot of goals, and our back line was the best in the state by a mile. So it made our job really easy too.
Yeah, that's probably one of the things that gets overlooked. You guys scored a ton of goals, but in that postseason, you guys also didn't give up a goal. Just no weaknesses. It kind of seemed with that team.
Yeah,
So you guys, in the 4 years, well, kind of like three, with the COVID year, state title, or runners up, then win it. How did this team competed against like that Jesuit and that Franklin team that you guys came up short against?
The funny ask that because me and my buddies, we always compare our team to the teams that we lost in the state championship, and it's hard to compare, but I do think we beat both teams. Just the way we play, I think a lot of people came up to us and said, "There's been a lot of dominant high school soccer teams, but none have played the way that we play." And I think the style of play that we have is really unique for a high school on the high school level. Just how calm and composed and possession based we are. I think it's something that hasn't really been seen before in the high school level. So I think that aspect we definitely would beat both of those teams. But those are two solid teams. Jesuit freshman year, looking back, I don't know why. It's just like when you're younger and you look at the seniors, they look older and they look bigger. And still I look at that team as bigger and older than us.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think, if we're both on our prime ages, and I think we do beat both of those teams.
Yeah, that was one of the kind of things Joe was talking about, your guys' coach, was you guys kind of just like change kind of halfway through the year, just how you guys play. Can you
Yeah.
just kind of just describe for the soccer novices, kind of like myself, what changes you made and what made it so unique for this level?
Yeah, I think we need to give a lot of credit to Joe too. People, you talk about our players, and it was probably, he did get a really good group, but I think he had a really big task at hand of controlling this group and finding a right style of play. And we started off playing a formation with 4-3-3,
Mm-hmm.
which it was working fine. We were scoring goals. We were playing fine, but he saw something that we needed to change, and we moved to three in the back, so three defenders, and then we had five through the midfield and two up top, me and Nani, and then
Mm-hmm.
Paul under us. And for me, I tell everyone this: me and Nani scored a lot of goals, and our backline was great and conceded none. But in my opinion, Paul Fecta was our rock, and he was the reason we won so many games because of the way that he played and the way that he controlled the game and the way that he supplied me and Nani
Mm-hmm.
all that role and letting him, have a freer role and get the ball and give it up instead of having to do more in the midfield and run more and defend more. And I think honestly, giving Paul Fector the ball and giving him the role in the midfield was the change midseason that gave us, okay, now we can get the ball. Now we can supply money. Now he can be free and give our backline space. And it was just that move from Joe was the reason that I think we started to control the game more than ever and won so many games and scored so many goals.
Mm-hmm. And kind of when did that kind of change kind of happen, and when did you kind of just feel like, all right, now we're humming?
We it was Yeah, we were gonna change that formation before our fourth game, I think, against North Medford, and everyone hated it. And we were all in practice like, "Coach, this, I don't think this is gonna work. We've never done this before." And he was just like, "Trust it, trust it, trust it." First game didn't go well. We didn't like it. We only won 4-0 against a North Medford team that wasn't really good.
Mm-hmm.
And and we were like, okay, like I don't know if this is gonna work. And then he just told us to keep trusting his process because he is, in my opinion, he's made, and all of his players love him. But from the outside eye, our warm ups are unique, and he's a little unorthodox. So people are like, what's happening right now? But he was just like, trust me, trust me, trust me. We trusted him. Fourth game of the season, I think we switched the formation, and ever since then, it just started to get better and better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it. So the trust the process thing, he said that probably more times, like
Yeah,
during a game than anything. It made his coaching job look kind of easy, just because he was like, trust the process, trust our process, trust like.
yeah.
But
I mean, it was
obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into the process that kind of
the process.
goes unseen. Do you
Yeah,
have an example of one of those kind of like unorthodox things that from people from the outside are just like, whoa, that's
yeah.
different, but really worked for you guys?
So our warm up was completely different than anyone else's in the state, and we would look across the field, and the teams would be laughing at us because we were doing such weird movements or like a warm up style that people have never seen before, and our injury rate was the lowest it's ever been this year because of the amount of recovery we were doing and the amount of effort we were putting onto our bodies and taking time off. We went on team hikes instead of going on practices some days. We took a lot of time off of playing and giving our bodies a rest. And I think in prior years, we had just gone, worked, practiced every day hard. And this year we took a step back and took a lot of time to reflect on our bodies. And instead of just constantly going and training, he gave us a lot of time to, warm up our bodies before the game. We only had about 20 minutes on the ball before every game. And it was a game changer. We saved so much effort on our bodies. We were the fittest we've ever been. And it looks crazy. When you look at what we're doing, people are like, when I first started doing it, I was like, I've never done any of these movements before. I look like an idiot right now, but he knew exactly what he was doing. We had to trust him because he's our coach. If you don't do what he says, he's not going to, he's our coach. So we had to do it. And people were like, oh, I don't know. But then once you started to do it, it started to really pay off and everybody really got behind it super quick.
So your senior year, you scored 25 goals. 5 of them coming in one game. Happened to be at that one. That was pretty crazy. But one of the things I noticed, you had the best celebrations after goals. You set a high bar for the team. You guys scored a lot. But no one cried, celebrate quite like you. Remember, you had the Jordan shrug. You dead fish after a goal that I don't think ended up counting, but just jumped into fished into the high jump pit. Hit the Dame time a couple times.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite one? And where does this inspiration for all these?
Prior years, we always just ran back after a goal. And then this year, our senior core was like, we need to start celebrating goals. So me, Paul, Nani, Rory, Everett, like the core senior guys were like, okay, we have to have a certain set. Like we would change our celebration. Like Paul came up with a bunch of random ones that we would just follow. And it started to become like a tradition that like every time we scored, we have to do something different. Or like Paul had a signature one where he would cover his eye and Nani would put his hands in his ears and like I would like shrug or something like that. And then we started to just like really heavily celebrate because it made it more fun. And that's something that I really loved about what we did this year, is just like gave ourselves more of an identity instead of just running back. Like we really like loved celebrating our goals, which is super fun. And people didn't do it as often as us because they didn't score as often as us, but still like that was something that was super fun. I think my favorite would probably have to be the shrug. I don't know why I did it so often. It's just that was definitely my favorite.
It's a good one, man. It's a classic. People know who it's from, who it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Which one of your teammates had the best, most creative one that you found?
Probably Paul. I think Paul's eye cover, or he did me, Nani DePero, Bowen Toiber, and I don't know who else it was. It might have been Paul, might have been Everett. We were preseason, we're working out, and we created a celebration that we never used. But we used it one game against North Medford, and you just put your hands in your ear, and Nani or me or said it looked like a moose or something. It's the stupidest thing ever. That's I remember the most and the one that I laugh about the most. So I think that one, we never used it, but that one was definitely my favorite.
The moose that never got used.
Yep.
All right. Ton of goals, like you said, this last year. Ton in your career. Is there a couple that just like really just like kind of stand out, or just like these were awesome goals?
Yeah. Probably Franklin. The first half goal, Franklin, with the seconds dying down, scoring with like a second left in the first half.
Yeah, I think awesome.
It was super special just because the moment and the fans and the celebration, and that was great. But I think losing to them in the state championship and then just demolishing them at home and scoring that goal just felt really, really good. And then I think the only one that could top that would probably be the state championship, just because like the amount of work that we put in to get to that moment and all of us scoring really felt like, okay, like it was just meant to be. Scoring that goal, celebrating in front of the fans, celebrating with all my teammates. I think that one is probably, I think that one was probably my favorite of all time. I can't name a better goal than that.
Yeah, man, that state title game, it became apparent very early that just like, okay, these guys are out here to just like pour it on. Like I guess had like a corner kick like in the first 30 seconds. Paul scores really early, and then it just kind of just snowballs.
Yeah, we knew it was over the second Paul scored, and I think Joe will tell you the same. I think he was talking to someone and said the second I saw how Westland were playing, I was standing up And the second I saw how they were playing, I sat right back down because he knew we were just going to demolish them. Like it was over the second it started, and the second Paul scored, everyone settled down, and we knew it was just they did not have a chance.
Yeah, when you played in these really close, I think you guys lost in PKs the first time, then in overtime to Franklin that second one
Yeah,
where it's just like it's 1-1, or I can't remember the score of the first one. That was before my time, but all of a sudden it's playing a game where you have like a little where you're playing ahead from ahead. Just how does that just kind of change the dynamic of what's happening on the field and just
yeah. We conceded first in both state championships before this one. And it's like you're falling back to get back in the game, and scoring first is the biggest confidence booster you can have because it's the nerves and the game you're playing in, different stadium, bunch of people there. Last game, no matter what, it's your last game ever, and you need to calm your nerves. And for us, we were all super calm because we've been there before. I know some of the other kids because they hadn't played in the game, but we had 9 starting seniors that had been in that spot before.
Yeah.
So we were super calm and possessed the ball early, created chances early. First 3-4 minutes, ball scored, and then we knew like, okay, if we start piling them on, they'll have no chance. And we scored 3 goals in the first 12, 13 minutes, I think. So it was over right at the start.
Yeah, that's just so crazy. Just that how that whole game just kind of transpired, and obviously, really happy for you seniors who have been in the game, multiple times and came up short. Just
Yeah,
the celebration afterwards was just a great kind of scene to just kind of take in.
Yeah, it was funny. Like the entire game, it's like it doesn't really hit you. Like it's just kind of felt like another game. And then the clock started ticking down, the seconds started ticking down, and it's 6-0. And I'm looking at my best friends of all time, and like we're all together, and we're laughing with like a minute left. I'm talking to my friends in the stands. Other kids are talking to their parents, like knowing we just won. And then for some reason, the second the buzzer sounded, like all the emotions just flooded into all of us. And on all the photos, my eyes are puffy. They're all the way up, like just puffed up from crying. Crying their eyes out that have been there before because of how special it felt. I think losing those first 2 made this year feel 20 times as special just because we knew how much it meant. And for us to go out senior year like that in such an amazing fashion, just it was the perfect ending.
So you're playing with Paul, with Nani, and anyone else from that team that you've been playing with for?
Oh, I mean, we core group of 7. That's me, Nani, Paul, Everett Adams, Logan Weisgerber, Max Sanders, and then one of our friends that was there at every away game. His name's Owen Gurley. He was there at every away game. He was at Jesuit, South Salem, all the big drives he came because he's our best friend. So us, that 7, him being the supporter and us 6 on the field, that was like the coolest thing ever because these are 7 of my best friends of all time. And as I've grown up with since I was little, and then being able to win a state championship with them and like have him in the stands watching, it was perfect. Like it's super special what we got to do because some other schools in like the Portland area, not all your best friends go to the same school because of how condensed it is in the population, but everyone goes to Summit. So that's why it's like so special for us to win that with all of our best friends, and everyone knew each other like we were, brothers. It was a family.
Were you guys good back then? Super young? You guys were super young growing up?
Yeah, U11, U12, we had a super solid team, but then they went into the 03, 04 age group where you had to play with your birth year instead of like the like a school year type thing. So I got split up because I'm an 04. I'm younger than most of some. It was me and Paul, and then the rest of them were older, so we got split up. But I mean, the first time I ever played with Nani on a team, I've known him forever, but the first time I played with him on the team was freshman year on varsity. So that was
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy because you guys like just from watching, you guys just really kind of seem to just know where each other were and just really just had this kind of ESP just kind of connection that was pretty obvious at times. It's kind of crazy that you guys, even though you've been friends for so long, I was kind of surprised to find out that freshman team was the first time you guys played together.
Nani is the easiest person to play with in history. I mean, he is Gatorade Player of the Year, Conference Player of the Year, 6A Player of the Year for Seamal State. It goes on, but like is just you you watch him dribble towards you, he passes you the ball, you lay it off to him, and he's gone. Like it's just like it's basically like being a fan, but you're just all you have to do is make one little pass, and he just changes the game. Like he is one of a kind. So he made my job a lot easier too. He made things look really flashy and really, really cool. And he set me up a lot of times too. So Nani and me, Nani and Paul in the front three was, I mean, it was just like three brothers that just knew exactly where we were at all times. And they made my job super easy. And I hope I did the same for them.
I'm sure they don't have too much to complain about. I mean, with the all that kind of played out, how it played out. Um, so Summit they lose this. You guys go on have this great year. A lot of players, leaving. You say like 9 seniors that have had experience in the state championship game are now gone. Who's kind of coming up the pike for this team? Who are the players?
Uh, they're going to be a really solid team this year. 5A, I'll bet on them to be state champs this year too.
Okay.
They good junior core. They got Aiden McLennan, Grayson Barker, Ben Evans, Jesse DePero, really solid. And then their junior class, Tommy Carroll and Bowen Toiber, especially. Bowen is a really good friend of mine. I've gotten super close with him over the past year, and he's a player. He's a special player. He's really athletic. He's a little bit like Nani, a little bit like Paul together. He's a bit of a combination, and he's going to be super solid. And they also have KP sophomore year. I think he'll start to come into his own a lot, and he'll be super solid. But they have a really good team, and I'd look out for them again next year. They're going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think KP was one of the guys that Nani had said like, oh, he's kind of the next in line.
Yeah, KP is going to be, when he's a senior, he will be a threat. He will be dangerous, and he'll grow, and he'll get stronger and faster, and he will be a special player.
Because yeah, he scored like the PK in the state title game, and no, I just kind of like, hey, freshman, go take this goal.
Yeah, he's a little bit like a celebrity at school too. Everyone knows him, so I mean, he's a little bit of a prodigy, and we hype him up a lot, but he deserves it because making varsity as a freshman on that team too that's an accomplishment in his own. So I think he definitely got the hype around him, but he deserves it, and he'll keep it. So
what makes him just like someone that someone like you, Nani, you're just like, all right, this guy has it. What is it about his game that
you can just tell, just the way he touches the ball, and there's like the fluidity of it and the calmness. He has so much composure too for someone so young and developing. He's really quick on the ball. He's AC. He's super technical. He's one of the most technical young kids I've seen, and he has a really smart IQ. He's really good with both feet. He's composed, and he'll only continue to grow. Obviously, he's short now, but he'll grow, and he'll get stronger, and he'll get faster, and he'll become someone that is almost undefendable because of, if you look at him now and the potential he has, like you can just tell that he will be someone that is super special.
So all you guys are going off to different colleges now.
Yeah,
it's kind of just sad you just don't get a form up on the same team again.
I wish I was a freshman in high school again, restarted Summit Soccer, but life goes on, and there's going to be bigger things ahead. I think it's great that we get new opportunities, but those were the best years of soccer of my life, and I doubt I'll enjoy it more than I did my senior year. So, but you gotta move on. You gotta get past high school. I mean, it was great to look back on, but there's bigger things ahead, and I think we'll be watching on for years to come, coming back, supporting the guys. But yeah, it's super bittersweet, but I couldn't ask for a better way to end it. So
yeah, I mean, being part of the best team of all time,
yeah,
it can't go about much better than that. So
maybe
go ahead.
Just the tie against South Salem is the only thing that just is in all of our minds. It could have been 18-0, but 17-0-1 is.
Yeah, what happened in that game?
Oh, a lot. It was a weird one. It was the field is basically like a football field, narrow. They don't it's but I'm not going to complain about that. If any of the South Salem kids see this, they already treat that tie against us like their state championships. I don't want to.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, more confidence than they deserve. But yeah, Nani got a red with like a minute left, but that didn't really affect it. He scored 2 goals. Keeper had a good save on a free kick. We gave away 2 horrible goals. And we didn't finish our. It was just it was a weird game, raining, but they tied and good for them for tying. But I think that game was needed for us too, because I think we were on such a high that we needed a game to be like, okay, there is a chance that we could lose a game. But yeah, they treat that game like, some of those kids have talked a lot about how I don't want to get into it, but they do really like that tie and they boasted a lot, so I won't give them more than they want.
Yeah, here's you guys after that 2-2 game. That was the last game you guys scored like 2 goals. 5-0, 7-0, 7-2, 4-0, 5-0, 3-0, 3-0, 6-0. So
yeah,
you just need a little refocusing just to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the last goal we conceded was against Bend High. Tommy Anderson, good friend of ours, scored it. So he likes to say that he's proud to be the last person to score on us. So that's good that we have a good buddy of ours that was the last person to score on us, and he likes to say that. So yeah, it was just from then. The only game we conceded was Bend High, which was interesting. So yeah, it was that game was needed. We needed to have a quick little reality check before we headed on to playoffs. So it was, I think without the game, maybe we don't go on to win. So, there's a lot of things that play into it.
Yeah. Now you're off to Western
Yep.
Oregon.
Yep.
How you feeling about that? Excited about it?
Yeah, really excited. I was going to go to University of Portland. Didn't work out because of financial issues, and ended up getting a really late spot in the Western Oregon team. Got full tuition, and super excited for that. It's a great opportunity. Love the coaching staff, love the area, and super excited for that. So yeah, it's a process, and I'm trusting that process, and just super excited to play and continue playing soccer.
Do you guys play Southern Oregon?
No, we don't. We're in the GNAC,
okay.
So Western Washington, teams like that. But I have a couple buddies on Southern Oregon, and that's a really good program.
That's where Rory and Paul are headed, right?
Paul's going to Spain for gap year. He's training there, playing in Spain. Rory is going to SOU. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw just a couple people headed that way, but
Paul's brother plays for SOU.
Okay, that's I think that's also what I was thinking about. So what are you just kind of like most excited about, kind of this next chapter of soccer and just life?
Just the competitiveness. I love to compete, and I think we'll have another chance to play for a program and play for a school and have that pride. And really busy conference schedule, night games, rivalries, stuff like that. That is just like, that's the competitiveness, and the work is kind of what I love the most. So just being able to go out there and compete and fight for a spot as a freshman is something that I'm really excited to do, because being bottom of the totem pole again, it's nice having to fight for your spot. So I just love to compete and love to work, and I can't wait to have another chance to do that for hopefully another 4 years.
Well, super exciting that you get another opportunity. It's fun, Alex. Especially this last year, getting to know you and watch you play soccer and watching this Summit team. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.